Okay, so the day is finally here. I'm going to harvest today the first spring harvest of honey from my newly installed, relatively newly installed flow frames. So as you can see, I have two deep body which are now honey supers. Typically you wouldn't see these as honey supers, but because of these flow frames you can use deep body boxes, and because you don't have to lift them out like we used to. So I've been very impressed with how well this has worked. I modified my my boxes to accommodate these. You can of course buy boxes that are already modified, and as a matter of fact I'll put a link on this video so that you can check it out and find out how to get these for yourself. But I'll move so that the lighting hopefully is better. As you can see, the bees have completely filled these 6 flow frames with honey, and they've capped it. So you can see the cappings. Bees are still working there. The outer 2 frames are still not capped, but they're pretty much filled with honey, as you can see. It's been an incredible process. It's only been about 60 days from the time I put these in until now. As you can see, they've sealed up everything as they normally do with the propolis. Then they went to work filling these with honey. So as soon as this one was about 3/4 full, I installed a second box with 6 more frames. Again, this thing is just filled with bees, and they've already sealed things up, and they're now putting honey in. As you can see, there's honey in a lot of these cells already. So my guess is in another 30 days this entire upper box will also be filled. So today I'm going to, as I mentioned, harvest this. So one of the things I did to hopefully speed the process up a little is I have a 5-gallon bucket with a filter inside, some vinyl tubing that's 1 inch in diameter, inside diameter, that extends about 3 inches into the bucket lid. And all I have done here is installed these outlets that actually come with the flow frames into the 1 inch tubing. So what I'll do shortly is just open up the flow frames, insert these tubes. I will come up top and engage the tool that comes with the frames, and then we'll have these to drain. So we'll continue the process. Again, if you're interested in learning more about this, just click the link here on this video, and I'll have some more information for you. As you can see, the tubes are now all inserted. It's really important to get these outlets turned correctly, but if you'll see there's a little logo on top, so you know which side goes up with those. So again, these tubes are just going into this bucket. It's just sitting on a tub to get it off the ground, so that's really all there is to it. So now I'm going to come up top and open up the tops for the wrench to go in, and we'll get the flow started. Much easier with 2 hands. I was able to get it to go. It just took 2 hands to hold with, and you can see honey's already starting to come down the tube. This is really a cool process. I was a skeptic when I first ordered these. I was actually one of the original contributors to the campaign, the crowdfunding campaign. It took about 6 or 8 months to get these, but again, you can see the first flow of honey starting down the tube into the bucket. So I'll time this so I'll be able to tell you how long it takes. It's about a 70-degree day so far, going up to about 80. So of course the temperature will have some to do with it, but not a lot, because the bees are maintaining a pretty constant temperature inside the hive. So again, slowly but surely, but the tube is filling up. There's a chance I don't have the this particular hive body angled properly, so I may have to lift the front of this particular super to help with the draining process, but I wanted to get it started. So I'm going to go down the next 3 and get them all going at the same time. But as you can see, hopefully you can see the first drops are now going into the bucket. Now open the other two, and you can see the honey starting to flow down those. Again, it was relatively easy with two hands to get these, get the tool in and get these gates broken so that the comb separates, and you can already see that honey starting to flow out of this one. And the bees are absolutely unaware. They're active this morning, but they're paying no attention to me back here doing this. So I know one of the concerns that the beekeeping community had about these flow frames was that it was going to entice a lot of folks to get into beekeeping who maybe shouldn't be into it. And I will say there's lots of work involved in keeping bees, but harvesting honey is one of the more difficult pieces of the equation. And these flow frames, at least my perspective so far is it's a major innovation in beekeeping. So now we've got honey flowing down all three tubes into the bucket. I was concerned there could be leaks up here. I see no leaks. If any honey leaks on the inside, it just goes back into the hive so the bees can repurpose it. So far so good. The honey's actually very clear and clean coming out. Certainly no bees involved because it's not physically possible for the bee to be in there. Since the comb was all sealed with cappings, there were no bees inside those tubes. So what will happen now, theoretically, is that the bees will realize the honey's gone. They'll remove the capping and then refill the cavities back with honey again. So it's really an amazing process. We'll change positions. Maybe the lighting's better on this side so that you can easily see the volume of honey that's flowing out and then down the tube into the bucket. So the purpose of this bucket situation was to keep the bees from being able to get into the honey while I'm harvesting it. And of course that's important, but at this point I've been really unnoticed back here at the back of these hives, so the bees aren't even back here yet. It is relatively early in the day and the sun's just starting to hit this hive body, so I'm sure the bees will become more active. But certainly I haven't disturbed them at all in the process of inserting these tubes and inserting the wrench and turning those. So amazing process. I just, as intrigued as I am by this, I can only imagine how fascinating this was the first time the inventors actually saw honey coming out of these things. Really a major innovation in beekeeping. Okay, the harvest is complete. I don't know if you can see it, but there's about a gallon of honey in the bucket. I'll close the hive back up now, and I weighed it, and there's about 13 pounds here. Okay, I don't know if this is visible or not, but right at 13 pounds, the bucket weighs probably around 2 pounds, so it's a good 10 pounds or so of honey. So 3/4 to a gallon out of 3 standard flow hives. So that's sort of seems to be what the rate's going to be. So excited about this. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Have a great day. So it's been exactly a week since we harvested the honey from the honey flow frames, and we harvested honey from these 3. So if you look at the previous videos, you'll see that when we were done, these were completely drained of honey. And so what's happened now is the bees realize the honey is gone. So they've gone back in and removed the cappings from all 6 sides of these 3 frames, and they've started putting honey back. So within just 7 days, they've filled these back up to about half, maybe 2/3. And I would estimate in another 7 days, those will be completely filled with honey. We've had 3 or 4 days of rain, so the bees haven't been able to be out foraging. So could be as few as 4 days. These will be filled, and they'll start the process of capping those. So I'm still waiting for these, for this one to be completely filled and capped. So this frame is filled and capped. This frame over here is partially filled and not capped on the outside. So we're going to give those 3 a little more time. But since the bees like to fill the inside ones first, my guess is that they'll get these filled and capped maybe even before they fill these outer ones and capped. So that's just the update. 7 days later, they're already making honey again. These flow frames are amazing.